Yeehaw and welcome back to the Austin Major coverage. We are now completed with stage 1, completed with stage 2, so let's catch you up on the action. And wait, what's that? Oh, it's money. I mean the Falcons. That's the first team we want to talk about. They're one of the most highly anticipated teams coming into this. And first off, they will be playing Bait. And it didn't go well. I mean, they didn't look good. They did not look like this big money roster that we got. And, but hey, it's okay. They got another game during the day. They're going to be playing Lin Vision, one of the most picked teams to go 0-3. And that didn't go well either. And in the end, they ended up losing this map on Nuke, which is one of their most picked maps overall. After the game, one of the darlings of the event, Amelia, had this to say in the interview.
You did it, my friend.
Yes. I don't know how. Just lucky.
No luck. You played very good.
No, lucky. Too lucky.
My friend, come on, Edemiro. Let me say one thing. When the things are like 12-9, you in the roof, kill 2, get back, it's ours.
Oh my God.
It's personality, you know? Personality.
No, that round is lucky. My lucky round. Just lucky.
So for a team that's been all about spending money and getting star-studded players like Monacy, they started off 0-2, and at the end of day 1, they're looking like they could be going home as we look forward into the event. So all this money to burn, well, they just threw it right out the window.
Good.
So next up, another tournament darling, and that is Legacy. They were one of the literal last team to get into the event. They're one of the most picked 0-3 teams in stage 1, and then again in stage 2, one of the most picked 0-3 teams. Started off the day versus MIBR, and you get a map like Nuke that they like. They ended up going 13-10 and sneaking the victory out. They ended up going to the 1-0 bracket, and they would play 3D Max over there. They would get to Inferno, and again, they would win 13-7, sneaking their way through. Player Latto ended up carrying them, getting 38 kills across both series, but 3D Max, again, was one of the higher rated teams, and Legacy, obviously one of the lowest rated teams, one of the last ones in. Now they're sitting at 2-0, looking to be one of the first teams to qualify. What an incredible story that would be as we look into day 2.
Austin will remember the impact of Legacy. 3D Max, that's gotta hurt. That is a surprise. They came into this one expecting a very different result.
Yeah, Jaw absolutely dropping in that one there. 3D Max, they were just struggling out the gates. This is both pistols for Legacy. Doom out with another massive performance. He was fantastic in the opening kill department.
And now shifting over to the old guard, you have Virtus Pro, one of the most historic teams in all of Counter-Strike, looking to make a little bit of a run. Their first matchup would be against OG, where Nico's been kind of helping them out a ton and looking really, really good. And straight out of the gate, they would smoke them. It would be a 13-3 or 13-2 just blowout. Like, got not even close, never looked close. And then they would get to pull in the next one in Bait, who, again, coming into this, they just took down the Falcons. So they were on top of the world, absolute euphoria. And how does that match fare out? It's a 13-3 beatdown for Virtus Pro again. So they move on to the 2-0 bracket to live to fight to get to be one of the first teams to be 3-0 and move out of the bracket. Now, moving on to the other side of the old guard, we have FaZe Clan. Obviously, one of, if not the most hyped stories going into this. You got Simple. He's back in the game. You've got Rain, hopefully looking to come back better than ever. And this team's looking to prove a point here. And straight out of the gate, they got a really hot heroic team. And they handled them flawlessly.
Frozen! Oh! Collateral! Oh, God! Not like this! Frozen!
I still cannot believe he hit that collateral, and that is for sure going to be on the top 8 plays from Ty this week. Moving on to the next matchup, they ended up getting another tournament darling in Ty Lu, who was in the 1-0 field. And that's got G, which is our beloved ice cream player. And, well, they made quick work of them. G was not going to be an ice cream after this match, as FaZe Clan go on into the 2-0 bracket, looking to not only live to fight another day, but to be one of the first teams, again, to move on into stage 3.
Catching up with Rain, first of all, massive congratulations, 2-0 already. Was that the goal for FaZe coming into this best of 1 stage?
Yeah, going 2-0 is definitely really good for us and kind of relieve some pressure from the rest of the stage. So yeah.
While this may be the American major, it feels like it's about Brazil. We had Legacy already kind of move through and qualify, and we had Pain Gaming coming in looking to stay hot as well. Their first matchup versus Nemiga on Dust 2, that would handle their business and move on. They would unfortunately get paired against another Brazilian squad, Furia, but they would dispatch 13-11 in a little bit of a closer matchup. Now moving on to MIBR, made in Brazil, they would come out looking to do the same, and they would fall a little bit short. First off, they got to play the Legacy squad, which another Brazilian matchup, and did not pan out for them. And then the next matchup, they got Nemiga, and that also didn't pan out. They would go into the 0-2 pool looking to fight for their tournament chances. At the end of day one, we have 4 teams who are looking to move on and punch their ticket into stage 3, and then we have 4 teams who are looking just to simply survive. So moving on to day 2, and let's start with the optimistic side because, hey, we're optimistic people here. Virtus Pro versus Pain Gaming, looking to see who's going to be the first squad to punch their ticket into stage 3. Starts off on Dust 2, and honestly, the match all came down to essentially one moment. It was 11-9 in favor of VP, and Flit gave us this.
Attention, no one's looking. Trigger discipline. Flit's got everyone on his screen. He's got the whole team. No one's looking, and he's just going to hold his fire. Goes for the immediate triple, and then QC to save him. He got it.
Talk about some incredible trigger discipline there. So next up, we would be moving into Mirage to see if VP could punch their ticket. And well, Pain wouldn't go down without a fight. This game would actually be pushed all the way into overtime, but in the end, VP would get it done and being the first team to move on into stage 3.
VP take it in 2. Gliding, flying, uncontested. Stage 3 is theirs.
So now for the matchup probably everybody wanted to see. FaZe Clan versus Legacy. 2 improbable storylines that probably should have never been here. One is Cinderella, and one is arguably the greatest of all time looking for a redemption arc. Who would move on? Well, the first map, we would hop into Mirage. Legacy, they would come out swinging. 13-7 in a game that never really felt close, and Simple never really got a chance to get going. Then we moved on over to Dust 2, which is a historically famous map for those guys, and FaZe fought valiantly. And Simple, even in the end, pushed all the way for some incredible plays, just like this.
Simple. Well, you've been waiting for Simple to have his moment. This has to be it, but the first shot misses. Orb gets on the line. Simple gets out with a double kill. Hold on a second. Simple rip-roaring and ready to go. He's logging this in for FaZe Clan. The one-man army. He hit that. Simple just hit that. And now the rest of FaZe start to arrive. Legacy can feel this is getting away from them. Do it. And there's no beating back Legacy now. 3-0 finish in stage 2.
So at moments we saw that Simple is in fact back. Capable of clutches, capable of big moments, but FaZe just couldn't get it done. This is Legacy's day, and Cinderella not only lives on, but Cinderella moves on. Congratulations to Legacy. What an incredible run so far. No matter how much further they get, this has been absolute cinema and completely an epic story that will live on. And on the other side of that, could Falcons be eliminated 0-3? Because that also would be an epic story considering where they currently are. Well, OG was looking to do just that. First map, it's very close. Comes down to the wire, and then Nico, not the Nico from Falcons, but the Nico from OG, ends up pulling this off.
Monacy's got Tesses to push forward, to work ahead of him, but what happens if this catwalk gets held?
They don't have utility.
Nikodog sitting on the angle, Slays kicks in, Nico up next, double from Nikodog, and another double still yet to go!
Oh!
3 kills in this clutch, and who else other than Monacy for him to be up again?
He won't bite.
Bomb is ticking!
He missed!
Nikodog thrives, and Falcons in a tailspin throw a 9-3 lead!
Unfortunately for OG, map number 2 would be Nuke, which is a Falcon favorite. And this time, they would be playing like the Falcons of old. They would secure the victory and move on to a deciding map 3, Mirage. And we were hoping for an absolute barn burner, but that's not what we got. The Falcons had other plans. They wanted to live the fight another day. They get the victory 13-6. Now, with that being said, big shout out to OG. Great run from those guys. Nico on OG actually predicted they would go 0-3 in their bracket. So, hey, at least his bracket is doing better than mine. And MIBR would go on to defeat, unfortunately, Bet Boom to eliminate them from the tournament. Great run from them, moving on, obviously, from stage 1 already.
That's it. MIBR, they've done it. They've eliminated Bet Boom.
The last highlight for day 2 is a really cool moment for Chinese CS. All of Asian CS has been on the rise. And this is the first time in really a major kind of tier 1 moment where you got to see 2 Chinese teams face each other. The Lin Vision versus Tai Lu. So this had 2 of the fan favorite players with Amelia and G both being in it. And in this particular scenario, Lin Vision would get the best of them. and Amelia himself would go off and play and get 17-7 for KD stat line. Moving on to help them go to a spot to where tomorrow they can be playing to move on into the next stage. Tyloo is eliminated though, so not all hope is lost, and hopefully G can get some more ice cream and move on in another day. But that wraps up the coverage of day 2. So moving into day 3, we had a ton of storylines, but we'll start off with the Falcons. That's only because if they win here and FaZe Clan lose, those two teams could play each other and Simple could get another opportunity to defeat Nico. First, that means Nico has to survive another day. And MIBR, they had other plans. Those other plans were extinguished very quickly when they played Ancient and Falcons beat them down 13-6. Now, we then would go to Falcons' preferred map of Nuke, where MIBR would return the favor and say, hey guys, we're going to game 3. Let's make it exciting. And exciting it would be. Game 3 Inferno would go all the way to not 1 overtimes, not 2 overtimes, but 3 overtimes. And it was an insanely critical moment where I just want to pull up the stats. On round 35, we have 18-17 in favor of Falcons. We have a 5v3. At this moment, the T side has won 81 consecutive times in Tier 1 events on a retake. But we're bringing up this stat because they didn't do it. Tessa swung out a little bit early on Banana. Monacy misses a shot. And from there, the dominoes fall and Falcons lose the round going into a 3rd overtime. At that point, your emotions are chalked, hard to recover, and Falcons, they get eliminated. All of that money couldn't buy a win, couldn't buy them into the final stage, and for that, they're heading home. And that is the end of what arguably is the greatest challenger to Vitality. So this tournament so far has been nothing full of excitement and fun and drama, and we're only on day 3.
I've, of course, got to address some of the rumours that have been circulating around Falcons and the potential for some roster moves coming into next season. Can you kind of confirm or deny anything that's happening with that situation?
I cannot say anything right now. I guess there should be some news or updates soon, so right now I cannot say much.
Totally understand that.
First off, I want to shout out Freya for asking that question. That is incredibly brazen of her, and hey, we want to know the answer because Sugi looks good, and Falcons really didn't. So, moving on to the other half of the equation to see if FaZe Clan can move on to avoid going into a sketchy 2-2 bracket matchup, hopefully make it a little bit easier on themselves. 3D Max, they didn't want to make it easy on them. Coming out of the gates, firing on Nuke. Now, there was a little bit of a lucky moment here with Kerrigan, which is probably one of the coolest plays we've seen in a while.
Thinking, okay, well, we know where Kerrigan is. Where is that other piece? The lobby, hut, heaven, Exercise gets him. Kerrigan actually making a bit of a strong case for this. If he could just run down Exercise, he's running around the corner, playing the time. Time is of the essence.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close. I think he's got it. The celebration there. I think it says it all.
That would be one hell of a touch. Okay, impact out of the captain, and the ambulance starts its engine.
That's so unbelievably lucky that the kit was able to fall down from heaven perfectly into Kerrigan's hands to nail the defuse. That never happens when I'm playing Premier, just to be clear. But FaZe would go on to lose that map, and then they would also go on to lose Inferno, which is the next one. Kept on a little bit closer. It was 13-9 in the end. 3D Max moves on into stage 3. FaZe Clan, they still have one more opportunity to get it tomorrow, but as for today, that book has closed. Now, unfortunately, moving on to other things that have closed is America's chance at moving on. And that is because M80 went on to play Namiga, and that was the last stronghold of America. And in the end, all the American teams would finally be eliminated, unfortunately.
Don't play it again.
But now that the American teams are gone, we kind of still have Team Liquid, who's American, and then we have Elige on FaZe, who is American. So that's, I guess, who we're shifting all of our preferences to. But Brazil, you know, they've got a lot of preferences, and now they've got a lot of options. Because in the end, Furia was able to secure the spot moving on, and then Payne was able to take down Lin Vision to also secure another spot moving on to get into stage 3. That makes 3 Brazilian teams who are already there, ready and waiting. That concludes everything on day 3. Let's hop over into day 4. So everything on day 4 absolutely matters. Teams either get eliminated or they move on to stage 3. The first matchup we had was Namiga versus Heroic, which Heroic had a really dominant stage 1. We've gone on a clean sweep of 3-0. They're actually very, very commonly picked in everybody's pick'ems, which are already busted. To move on, Namiga is actually frequently picked to be in the 0-3 category. But hey, our pick'ems are toast for a reason, and Namiga proves that today. Coming out on the first map, taking them down, and then also on the second map, eliminating Heroic's almost heroic run at the event. And Amiga will go on to fight another day.
Vision to break it. 8-round hiatus, or rather 8 years it's been. They take it. Lin Vision, all the way from stage 1. Stand up, jump up. Emilia can't quite believe it.
That's his signature move.
So Emilia and Lin Vision are absolutely the fan favorites going into this. I would say that Bait is probably the more probable team to win, but nobody decided to tell Lin Vision that, because the first map they would come out and they would destroy them on Dust 2 with a 13-2 decisive victory. Next up, we would move over to Ancient, and Bait would get their revenge, coming back with a close game, 13-9. Then we would shift our focus to Anubis, and Emilia and Lin Vision would move on, live to fight another day, making it out of the bracket.
Did they kind of motivate you on the Bait side? Because at the end of Ancient, they called you effing bots, and then he started really stepping up and shouting and standing up, and he was showing some extra confidence.
你是不是因为在图2的时候，最后对面叫你人机，你图3开始发力了
No, just I think they play not very well, and I know how they will play, and I will call some stuff in run, something like that, and destroy them.
Reactions.
Okay.
Perfect. We're gonna show you.
Let's go.
What are you doing? Let's fucking go!
Who is this?
I saw some comments on Twitter, and then they were like, "This guy yells annoying. Like it's annoying. Like how American teams are losing to this like annoying kid."
Oh, what?
Don't.
It's moments like that that make Counter-Strike such a beautiful game. Emilia can go from being a relative nobody, level 6 on Face It, by the way. Need to work on that, brother. But he can go from being a relatively unknown player to an absolute fan favorite around the world in just a couple days. We're very excited to see those guys continue to play, continue their run in the major. Now, moving on to other people and other organizations that are storied, famous, and that everyone is watching for, that's FaZe Clan. They would be playing MIBR in a do or die moment. First matchup, you're gonna get Anubis and FaZe Clan. Well, today they weren't playing. 13-4, they came out with the beatdown. In the next map, we're gonna go into Ancient, and FaZe looked a little shaky early. They went up, and then out of nowhere, MIBR makes a crazy run, and when they're back against the wall, FaZe bear down and get it done.
Soon, important trade from Simple, but it's kept the numbers even. Insani overran. FaZe have just got to find this last player, this last man. Lukowski unaccounted for on that swing. This is the chance for MIBR. Lukowski spammed to death. And Elige, it's going to be so close. But he's got it.
Incredible run by MIBR, but it would come up just short. FaZe Clan will be moving on to stage 3. And just like that, we have concluded the second stage of a chaotic Austin Major. Our pick'ems are probably destroyed. Hopefully you still have a chance at your diamond coin, because I don't, and many others don't either. But that's what makes Counter-Strike so exciting, and that's what makes the majors so fun. Because moments like this, moments like Emilia, moments like G trying to get his ice cream and making an awesome post about everybody that loves Counter-Strike he loves. And hey, G, we love you too, brother. That's what we're looking forward to in stage 3, to get more cool stories, more cool moments, and more really good Counter-Strike. We'll see you then.